Hi, my name's Anya Cisse, and I'm a senior. Today we highlight significant moments and figures in Black history. Thanks for watching QOTV.
We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself, who taught you?
Mr. President, Dr. Biden, Madam Vice President, Mr. Emhoff, Americans, and the world.
Hi everyone, I'm Miss Ward and I teach English 9 and 10. I'm going to be going through some of my favorite lines with you guys from the Amanda Gorman inauguration poem.
The loss we carry, a sea we must wade, we've braved the belly of the beast.
Now I really like this line because she opens up the poem with some negative imagery to really give us a great descriptive poem. So the sea we must wade, I just imagine we having to go slowly through this never-ending sea. It takes a lot of effort. And even that beast imagery is definitely a challenge and a dangerous situation that we are going to overcome. So she starts off the poem with some negative situations, but as she goes through the poem, she makes a point that although we are in this challenging situation, we are going to be able to get through it, even if it seems like a no-win situation.
We've learned that quiet isn't always peace, and the norms and notions of what just isn't always just is.
Now that last two lines are my favorite. That is my favorite part of the whole thing because it really hits home for me personally. So, with recent events, we know that police brutality and racism have definitely not gone away. And for this recent year, it's really opened up the eyes of some people to really know that. With the storming of the Capitol, Black Lives Matter protests, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Philando Castile, Eric Garner. Unfortunately, I can go on and on with that list. And we can see that not everybody's lives are seen as important or the same, unfortunately. And she really emphasizes this point with those last two lines, just is and just is. She has that sound wordplay that helps emphasize what she's trying to say. And in the poem, she has a little dash right at the end for justice. And I really do appreciate that purposeful thing because she's really trying to emphasize that these prejudicial thoughts have become normalized, even if it's subconscious. So even if it is the norm of our society, that does not mean we should continue to let it happen or let it sweep under the rug because everybody's lives matter. And she's really trying to show that point, and even though it's just two lines, that this is what's happening right now and that should not be continuing.
That even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious.
And I really like this line because it gives me a personal connection to a motto that I actually say to myself a lot. It always seems impossible until it is done. We always have a challenge in life, whether it's your schoolwork, your job, family, friend drama, life in general. Challenges happen, even if it's small or even if it's large. But we have to remember that we're not going to stay in that space. It's just a little bump in the road. And we have to remember that bump in the road does not last forever. And she really does a good job with a lot of literary techniques in these lines. She uses anaphoria, that repeated, that even. She does alliteration, with each line having a repeated letter, and then also purposeful diction. And the diction really brings it all together.
When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
She starts off by asking us that question of how are we going to get out of the shade and into the light? The shade being, Corona, all of this racism that we're seeing, and how are we going to get out of it and really get past it, honestly. And so she brings that idea back at the end by that parallelism. If only you're brave enough, and she changes it slightly to see it and then to be it. The only way to really get out of a challenge is to first reflect about it, see what that challenge is, understand what you have to do, and then do it. You just have to have the courage and the faith to go through that process. It may be a slightly longer process, but at the end of it, we will get out of it and we will overcome that challenge. And she really does a great job with pointing out that message with all that literary device.
Movies in this current time are a complicated process. Through the shutdown of theaters, we have resorted to staying at home with our streaming services for our entertainment, and it can be hard to find the same motivation for life that we had before. During these times, perhaps a movie like Soul was the most fitting. Soul was produced by the Disney company under Pixar and released on Disney Plus in late December 2020. The movie illustrates Joe Gardner, Jamie Foxx, a music teacher whose one dream is to spread his love of music to others. However, his life is cut abruptly due to an accident which causes him to enter a new world. As he tries to escape this new place and get back to his life, he is aided by multiple characters, including 22, voiced by Tina Fey. Will he ever get back to his normal life, or stay in the spirit world for good? Personally, I really enjoyed this film. This is definitely one of Pixar's best looking. The lighting and the backgrounds of the real world makes everything look lively, and the spirit world is creative and fun. I think it establishes the spirit world and the rules well, and I was engaged throughout the entire movie. All of the characters are fun, but I especially love the spirit world characters. Really well and very unique. I think my only problem with this movie is that it can be a bit too goofy sometimes, which contrasts with its very adult message about life, where you should live it to the fullest and appreciate it. I think this movie, regardless, works well for both adults and kids.
Ryan Coogler, born in Oakland, California, is an American film director, producer, and screenwriter. You may have heard of him through his films Black Panther, Creed, Fruitvale Station, and the new up-and-coming Space Jam movie. Prior to his filming career, however, Coogler actually had a scholarship for football with the goal of majoring in chemistry. While in college, he took a creative writing course which led him to his love of screenwriting. His early career consisted of the creation of many short films that were nominated for awards. These films would ultimately help him start his filmmaking career. Coogler's first feature-length film, Fruitvale Station, starring Michael B. Jordan and Octavia Spencer, captures this true story of a young man trying to provide for his family. The main focus of Fruitvale Station is to highlight the injustice experienced by minorities through this horrible and unfortunately real story. The film was submitted to the 2013 Sundance Film Festival, where it won the top award. Coogler's story is an inspiration to all. From living out of his car to becoming Marvel's youngest filmmaker with his film Black Panther, which became the highest-grossing film of all time by an African-American director. Not only that, but his films have been very successful, landing him on Time's list of 30 people under 30 who are changing the world. In his films, he likes to focus on overlooked cultures and characters, most notably being African-Americans. Throughout his relatively young career, only being 34, he has achieved many great things and he is not stopping there. He will continue to be an inspiration to everyone around him and is a well-respected influencer in the African-American community.
After 322 days of cancellation, postponement, and uncertainty, MCPS athletics are finally back.
MCPS has released their Return to Ray's second semester plan, which outlines the return to play plan for the second semester. In-person athletics will start on Saturday, February 27th, with fall sports kicking things off. Once dropped off at school, students will check in and fill out a health assessment to make sure they are COVID clear. They will then report to one of 7 pods on the school's campus where athletic practices will be taking place. And due to an MPSSA rule, that's all that'll be going on for the first 20 days, which leaves March 19th as the first day for competition, with the season ending on April 17th. Complete details are still unknown, but should be shared shortly. All of this is of course depending on state and countywide measures, but if things keep going the way that they are, we should be expecting in-person MCPS athletics soon. Adam Gotkin, QOTV.